Now in this video, we're going to show you the application and installation process of the EWI-220 EPS Basecoat. The first thing you need to do is the preparation of the EWI-220 EPS Basecoat. Take a bucket with water, following the instructions on the back of the bag. Pre-mix using a paddle mixer. Then wait 10 minutes. Use a paddle mixer again, just to give the product a remix before you're ready to start the installation process. Now you can use a number of combination of tools. We suggest you use a plasterer's hawk in combination with a plasterer's trowel and a 10mm notch trowel. Before you install the reinforcing layer, you're going to have to install the beads. The first key bead is the Bellcast bead. Now this bead sits right above the DPC layer, so that's approximately 150mm off the ground if you don't have one. We're using here the product to apply it onto the wall first, and then we embed the bead into the product to have it nicely stuck on. Then you do your corner beads. Here we're using the wing mesh corner bead. You can use the product to embed it onto the wall, and the bead nicely sticks onto that corner. Now you may also encounter an internal corner as demonstrated on this video. Now we do have this special bead here because it's additionally reinforced, and it can deal with some of the biggest movements that can be found in this part of the wall area. Now we're ready to do the base coat and reinforcing layer. Mix the product up again, as discussed, with the right water content. Wait a few minutes for the product to be ready. Then use your 10mm notch trowel with the help of your plasterer's hawk and approximately put 5 to 6mm of the product onto the wall area. Then you're going to take your mesh, you're going to cut that into the strips, and you're going to start from top to bottom, placing the mesh into the layer of that base coat. You can use a trowel as well, just to tap that into position so that it holds into the adhesive. Then we're going to cut our next strip of mesh and follow the same process, making sure that the mesh overlaps at 100mm for every overlap that you do. And you can use the mesh, which is nicely drawn and guided on the actual rolls, to follow this process. Now when all the mesh is in position, we're going to push it a little bit further into the base coat so it sits approximately in the final third of that whole layer. Now, there's another way you can do this. You can do this by using the base coat in two passes. So you can put 4mm, put the mesh into position, and then put another 2mm of the base coat on top. It's entirely up to you how you do it, but here we've done it with our preferred method using a 10mm notch trowel. Now the key thing is to make sure that your base coat is perfectly flat and no trowel marks are showing, because ultimately you're going to want to either silicone render it or paint the surface. Now the best way to get this out, you can either do this with a flat edge trowel, a speed skim, or whilst the base coat layer is going off but not completely dry, you might want to sponge float it. To sponge float out the troweling marks, use a sponge float, as you can see here, with a bucket of clean water. Cleaning the sponge float as you're rubbing it down and making sure you've got enough water that's going onto that sponge as you're rubbing up the wall. To find out more about our products, visit our website on www.bba-approved.com. ewistore.co.uk.